Hi, my name is Katie Langlays, and today I'm going to be doing a young adult book talk with you on If I Stay by Gayle Forman and Where She Went by Gayle Forman, which is a two-book series. Sometimes you just need to read a book that completely engulfs your emotions, tears your heart right out of your chest, and then puts you back together piece by piece. These books do that, or at least they did for me. And that might not be your type of book. You might prefer a book that is happy throughout and leaves you with a happy ending. If that's your type of book, then steer clear of these ones because these will not be for you. But if you appreciate writing so amazing that it will have your heart both break and swell for characters that you've never met, then sink into a comfy spot on your couch. Make sure you have a box of tissues handy and embark on your journey with Adam and Mia as they teach you about love, loss, and everything in between. So, some book details. First, I'm going to be going over If I Stay, which is the first book in the series, and then I will let you know before I start talking about Where She Went, just in case you haven't read this one before, just so you don't get any spoilers with the second book. You can shut it off there. I initially was just going to be doing it on Where She Went, but then it occurred to me that maybe not everyone has read If I Stay, and you really should read this book first to get the full effect of Where She Went. So If I Stay is 234 pages. It was first published by Dunton Books of Penguin Group Incorporated in 2009, but then was republished by Speak of Penguin Group Incorporated in 2010. And the average rating on Goodreads for this book is 4.2 stars. So, a little bit about this book. If I Stay is about a girl named Mia Hall who is 17 years old. She has a loving family, a fiercely loyal best friend, and she is in a relationship and has been for 2 years with Adam Wilde. And they have an amazing love story that formed over their bond of music. Adam is a guitarist and lead singer for his band Shooting Star, and Mia is an amazing cellist that is actually planning to go to Juilliard in the fall. But then her picture perfect life comes crashing down when she and her brother and her parents are involved in a car accident, and Mia is the only survivor. So, as this book is taking place, Mia is actually unconscious at the hospital, and the book has present tense of Mia being in a coma, but she is actually having an out of body experience where she can hear and see everything going on. She can even see herself laying in the hospital bed, which is very surreal to her. And she can see all of the visitors that come see her, and she hears everything that they're saying to her. Um, and it's also told in past tense through flashbacks and her remembering things, which is a very important part of this book because it shows you all of the relationships that Mia has with her family and her friends and Adam. So without those flashbacks, you really wouldn't have any real connection to the characters in the story because um, the present tense is all in the hospital with everyone coming to see her. So it is very, very sad. It starts off with the accident, so it jumps right into it. So me telling you about the accident really is not a spoiler. Um, so the entire build up of the book is basically Mia's decision to stay and be with Adam and her friends and her remaining family, or stop fighting and just let go and be with her parents and her little brother. Um, so I'm going to do a reading. I'm going to do a few readings actually. So this is the very first page of the book, and it's titled An Impossible Choice. How am I supposed to decide this? How can I possibly stay without Mom and Dad? How can I leave without Teddy? Or Adam? This is too much. I don't even understand how it all works. Why I'm here in the state that I'm in, or how to get out of it if I wanted to. If I were to say, I want to wake up, would I wake up right now? I already tried snapping my heels to find Teddy, and trying to beam myself to Hawaii, and that didn't work. This seems a whole lot more complicated. But in spite of that, I believe it's true. I hear the nurse's words again. I am running the show. Everyone is waiting on me. I decide. I know this now. And this terrifies me more than anything else that has happened today. My next reading is another scene from the hospital, and I also feel like this is a pretty important part of the book. Do you have any people you can call? The social worker asks. Relatives who might like to be here with you? I understand this might be quite a trial for you, but the stronger you can be, the more it will help Mia. I startle when I hear the social worker say my name. It's a jarring reminder that it's me they're talking about. Gran tells her about the various people who are en route right now. Aunts, uncles. I don't hear any mention of Adam. Adam is the one I really want to see. I wish I knew where he was so I could try to go there. I have no idea how he's going to find out about me. Gran and Gramps don't have his phone number. They don't carry cell phones, so he can't call them. And I don't know how he'd even know to call them. The people who would normally pass along pertinent information that something has happened to me are in no position to do that. I stand over the bleeping, tubed, lifeless form that is me, my skin gray. My eyes are taped shut. I wish someone would take the tape off. It looks like it itches. The nice nurse bustles over. Her scrubs have lollipops on them, even though this isn't a pediatric unit. How's it going, sweetheart? She asks me, as if we just bumped into each other in the grocery store. And the last reading that I'm going to do from this book is towards the end, and it's Adam's plea to Mia to try to get her to stay and not give up. It's kind of like his last-ditch effort. But this was probably the part of the book that affected me the most. So there's a scene with Mia and her grandfather's talking to Mia when she's unconscious. And that's the most moving part of this whole book for me, I believe. And I tried to do it, but I cried every single time that I read that part. So I definitely couldn't get through it without crying right now. So if you stay, I'll do whatever you want. I'll quit the band, go with you to New York. But if you need me to go away, I'll do that too. I was talking to Liz, and she said that maybe coming back to your old life would just be too painful. That maybe it'd be easier for you to erase us. And that would suck, but I'd do it. I can lose you like that if I don't lose you today. I'll let you go if you stay. So this book is really amazing. Everybody should read it. Everybody who doesn't mind getting a little emotional, don't read it if you have anything to do that same day that you might be all splotchy for, because you probably will end up like that. And the next book, so stop reading here if you, stop watching here if you just want to read that first book, because this has some spoilers in it. So Where She Went is from Adam's point of view, where If I Stay was from Mia's. This takes place 3 years after If I Stay ended, and Mia has left for Juilliard. She obviously decided to stay. When she left for Juilliard, though, she told Adam how much she loved him. She said she loved him more than anything in the world. And then she got on her flight to Juilliard across the country, and she never talked to Adam after emailing him just a few times here and there right at the beginning of school. So Adam, this is 3 years later, Adam is a rock star now. His band Shooting Star has skyrocketed to fame. And it was actually after Mia had ended things with him and he went into a deep depression. And then he came out of it with his music and decided to write about his feelings that he had about everything that happened when Mia ended. And those songs were what made Shooting Star be so famous. What one of the big things that I love about this book is that a few of the chapters, right at the beginning of the chapter, it has song lyrics for the different songs from Shooting Star, and it can just show what some of Adam's emotions were. Like this one, I'll be your mess, you be mine. That was the deal that we had signed. I bought a hazmat suit to clean up your waste. Gas masks, gloves to keep us safe. But now I'm alone in an empty room, staring down, immaculate doom. So that just shows a little bit of what Adam was going through after that. So the beginning of the book, Adam's still depressed. He's about to begin a tour that he wants no part of. He doesn't get along with his girlfriend, who's like a beautiful actress. He doesn't get along with his band members anymore. He doesn't get along with really anybody, and he doesn't really like himself anymore. And then the night before he's supposed to be leaving, he is in New York City and sees a sign for a concert that Mia is going to be playing, and he decides to pop in and see if he can just hear her play one more time. She finds out from somebody that he's there, and after the show, she meets up with him. And at first, it's just two old friends catching up, making small talk. Everything's very awkward. And then Mia is also leaving the next day to begin her concert tour for being a cellist. So she asks Adam if he'll go on like a mini, they call it an Easter egg hunt, like they used to do of all her favorite places in New York that she wants to show him before she leaves the next day. And they call it their farewell tour of New York City. So Adam reluctantly agrees. He knows that he could never say no to Mia as much as he really wanted to. Um, and while they're on that tour, he finally confronts her and demands that she gives him an explanation for why she left. Um, and she actually tells him that she knows a secret that he's been keeping from her and from everybody else, and even from himself a little bit. So I'm not going to tell you what happens after that because you need to go and read this book. Read If I Stay first and then read this book after, but I'm going to read a couple more pages from this. I just want out of my existence. I find myself wishing that a lot lately. Not be dead or kill myself or any of that kind of stupid shit. It's more that I can't help thinking that if I'd never been born in the first place, I wouldn't be facing those 67 nights. I couldn't be here right now, having just endured that conversation with her. It's your own fault for coming tonight, I tell myself. You should have left well enough alone. I light a cigarette and hope that will steady me enough to walk back to the hotel where I'll call Aldous and get everything straightened out and maybe even sleep a few hours and get this disastrous day behind me once and for all. You should quit. Her voice jars me, but it also somehow calms me. I look up. There's Mia, face flushed, but also oddly smiling. She's breathing hard like she'd been running. Maybe she gets chased by fans too. Imagine that old couple in the tux and pearls tottering after her. I don't even have time to feel embarrassed because Mia is here again, standing in front of me like when we still shared the same space and time, and bumping into each other, though always a happy coincidence, was nothing unusual, not the slightest bit extraordinary. For a second, I think of that line in Casablanca when Bogart says, "Of all the gin joints in the world, she has to walk into mine." But then I remind myself that I walked into her gin joint. And there's one more part that I want to read. It has to do with the secret. As I stand here on the Brooklyn Bridge, I'm thinking about those stadium shows. of their hurricane wail of white noise, because all I can hear now is a roaring in my head, a wordless howl as Mia disappears and I try to let her. But there's something else too, a small voice trying to break through, to puncture through the roar of nothingness. And the voice grows stronger and stronger, and it's my voice this time, and it's asking a question. How does she know? All right, so I also did just want to say that there was a a movie made about the book If I Stay, and the movie was mediocre at best. So if anybody has seen the movie and did not want to read the books based on what they thought about the movie, do not let that stop you from reading the books, because the book was actually very amazing. A few things about the author. So Gayle Forman was born in Los Angeles, California, and currently resides in Brooklyn, New York with her husband and daughter. And she's written several books, but she began her writing career writing for 17 magazine and doing teenager and young adult articles, which I found was very interesting considering she's now a young adult author. Some read-alike books, Saving June by Hannah Harrington, The Memory Book by Laura Avery, Thanks for the Trouble by Tommy Wallach, Where You Are by Tamara Weber, Running Barefoot by Amy Harmon, A Little Wanting Song by Kath Crowley, and Speak by Laurie Halsey Anderson. Those were all on the Goodreads suggested books for If I Stay and Where She Went. And this is not a young adult book that I'm about to mention, but it just was a little something that I thought of when I had read these books about the types of emotions that it made me feel with the ups and downs and the highs and lows. The only other book that I had read that I could really compare it to with how emotional this book had me and how happy and sad at times was when I read The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, because that book also made me cry, it made me smile, it made me cry happy tears, and these books did the same thing for me. So even after I had read them, like when I was reading Where She Went, after I had read If I Stay, it actually was still making me cry to think about Mia's family every time Adam had referred to Mia's family and losing them, because really Mia was not the only one who lost her family that day. Adam was really upset about it too, and he talked about it a lot in his flashbacks. So these books were really amazing. I said make sure that you have tissue box ready or tissues handy, because you're going to need them. But If I Stay by Gayle Forman and Where She Went by Gayle Forman, and you won't regret them.